All right, it's Lions Man Cave Chat. We're going to get started shortly. I do not own the rights to this music.
Here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Smokin.
All right, I got a few guests. One's running a couple minutes late. I got Andrew Merklinger from San Antonio, Texas. I got Luke G's field review of Detroit Lions on the Prowl. I got Dan Leonard out there in Pennsylvania. I got David, Lions Insider Pike of Detroit Lions Forum, and Big Dan Davis from down there, downstate there in, damn it, Mount Clemens.
Yeah.
We got a couple comments coming in, and then we'll get into the meat of things.
Woody, what's up, though?
We're getting closer and closer to the preseason. It's exciting time for football fans. Steve Bauer says it's almost camp time. And Woody, our Bears fan that was on the NFC North show, says, "What's up, guys?" That being said, for those of you that watched the show on Wednesday, what did you think about the review that we all went over?
That was one angry Packers fan.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of interesting takes there. I hate that I missed it. I completely got my damn day screwed. So damn it, that sucked. But I thought it was a lot of interesting takes, and I thought that you was able to find some objective fans in the Bears and Minnesota and Packers camp. So that was cool.
It was nice having like the normal pack tard or the normal, slappy fans. I mean, except for maybe Skull Scott was great. I loved him. I loved him in the face paint with the shield and the sword and the big horns on his head. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But for me, what I liked is they were giving the Lions credit, and that's something that that the rival fans don't usually do. So I thought that was a nice thing for us as Lion fans is the rival fans were saying, hey, the Lions are doing this good. The Lions are doing this very well. Like they're building a strong, capable team that's going to be good in the future or could be, could make some noise this season. I like that. So I give them props for that.
I don't even, what? Honestly, it didn't even bother me that if they did or did not give credit. I was looking more so for hearing a discussion about how they see us as an opponent. And to me, that was the bigger takeaway for me, was to see how they view the Lions as a opponent overall. In the past, most people would look at the Lions and just simply say, you know what? They would say, you know what, this is an automatic win for us. I didn't hear that level of confidence from them this time around. But again, that is still yet to be said in terms of how we're viewed overall. We got to still go out there and perform, and I think we should and will do so. But I just love the fact that they didn't have that same this is gonna be a cakewalk, easy win attitude, and it was like, yeah, y'all did some things that made us take notice, and that's a good thing to have.
Yep. All right. We got a few more comments before I get to David, Big Dan, and Dan. Chicken Nugget King comes in saying he's here. Joseph Host. Hi, guys. How's it going? Stephen King. Ken Ballrick Dads comes in and says, "Hey guys." The Roar with Jake D says, "What's up, guys?" And Woody says, "I gave the Lions a lot of credit." Yes, you
That
did,
you
Woody.
did.
Dan, what was your take from it?
I just liked how honest that every fan base was in there. They gave open and honest critiques of their own teams and even our own team, as well as giving us some credit. So, like
Trying to
Luke
get-
said, they're not looking at us like a cakewalk anymore.
And welcome in
And that to
Detroit
me
Dom.
makes me that
What's
to
up,
me
y'all?
makes me hopeful because I'm not as scared as I was before of going into the live chats because I would always feel kind of intimidated by Packer fans, Viking fans, and Bear fans because I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be hearing this, saying like, oh, the Lions don't fear us. Oh, the Lions aren't gonna be this, or the Lions are gonna do that, or aren't gonna do that. So for me, the fact that they were able to give the Lions their due and say, hey, the Lions are not going to be that team everybody thinks they're going to be easy to beat anymore. They're building a very good opponent team because of Brad Holmes and what Brad Holmes is doing as a
Hello,
GM
Ken.
and what the front office is doing as a whole. So it's a nice way to see that they are making it comparable, that they respect us enough. That's what I love.
All right. Dan Leonard, what was your take?
That we had one very angry Packers fan.
Yeah, he was. He got angry at the end there, didn't he? I thought it was funny. He started to go on to slam us, and as soon as he got ready to pound his gavel, he froze.
Absolutely.
What did I miss?
We were talking about the NFC North review we did on Wednesday and how the fans from the other teams were giving the Lions a lot of respect and a lot of credit for how they've been building the team.
I feel like most people that actually want to consider themselves legitimate, knowledgeable NFL football fans, like, you have no choice but to give us credit. Like, it's one thing to see crazy takes from, good or bad, from idiots like Carlos Monterrez or whatever. And I mean, the fact that the whole national media has just about gone Lions homer, like, there's a reason for that. Like, all those people can't be wrong. It'd be one thing if it was just Nate Burleson.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But but
David,
there was also
hey Andrew, let's let other people talk real quick. David, what do you think?
I mean, if we're being entirely honest here, you just have to. You're talking about other fans from other fan bases that are being honest. Well, that's a good thing to hear because we as fans know that we're highly protective of our team. We're highly protective, and we can be homerish at any one given moment. So that's good that they were able to step up. But I think when you take a look inside of the division itself of the NFC North, like, realistically, the Lions were the one team this whole offseason that improved the most as a team. The Packers, they really didn't improve themselves on offense. If anything, they regressed. They did get better on defense with the draft. You take a look at the Vikings, they added some pieces on their defense, but as I've said before, their defense is either geriatric or inexperienced. Then you take a look at the Bears, and again, I'm going to be forthright and honest here. The Bears, they're in a deep hole. They've got a lot of work ahead of them. So they drafted some pieces, but they're going to have to draft really well over the next couple of years to rebuild that team. But you take a look at what we did. We got two really good players, Aiden Hutchinson and Jamison Williams, who I think are going to be staples for this team for years to come. You brought in some other key pieces like getting DJ Chark, bringing Josh Reynolds back. You brought in Deshaun Elliott. Like, the Lions actually were probably, in my opinion, the team in the North, the NFC North, that had the best offseason, if I'm being entirely honest. And I'm trying to keep that as objective as possible without it sounding like a homer opinion.
All right. The Roar with Jake D. This is not your father's Lions.
Thank God.
That being
Just a
said,
euphemism to say not same old Lions anymore.
I will say this. To be fair, I have spent a lot of off seasons feeling like the Lions had the best off season of our division, and we've yielded no results in that regard.
Right.
So for me, I'm measuring things a little bit different this year. I don't know if the offseason has been good or I thought to see the results happen, because at this point, too many stars have lined up for you to just knock it out the park. And if those things don't happen, it would be suspect. I'm not a fan of Deshaun Elliott. I would be surprised if he make it the whole season. That would be the most shocker of my life. I mean, here's a guy who played 16 games in 4 seasons. Okay. I'm not super high on some of the receivers we added. I think Chalk is cool or whatever, but I think that's just a decoy to try to get everything on the inside open. But for me, looking at the rest of the NFC North, I have to come away with the simple question of, did we do enough to win the division, and did we do enough to truly put the other teams in the division on notice? And until a game is played and I see it in real time, it's hard for me to say that we had the best offseason.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still at the prove it stage myself, because it looks great on paper, as a lot of off seasons have in the past. But the difference is I think we finally have a competent coaching staff that might be able to bring out the best in them, just like last year, because we didn't see a competent anything until week 10 on, in my opinion.
You took the words out of my mouth almost verbatim. We've had a lot of good player acquisitions in previous off seasons, whereas, just like you said, I haven't seen this competent of a coaching staff top to bottom. It's a little early to say, but if we have a successful season this year, I could almost say in my life.
Yeah, I think
that's how much faith I have in these guys. But go ahead.
I think the coach staff do make a difference. I think they do bring something to the table. But I also understand that we have to make sure that the standards is high for this team. And a lot of the players we brought in, let's face it, if we weren't playing Madden, hell, even on Madden, we probably wouldn't keep them. So it's like, I don't want to get too high. I want to see some results, and I also want to make sure that the team understands that nobody is counting on you to be good. Nobody is rooting for you to be successful. And at that point, I need for you to say, you know what, y'all don't gotta believe in us. We'll make you. And then I can be like, okay, cool. We finally starting to see it put together and get excited about it. This team to me, is going to be tested, because the one thing I'm not doing is I've made a personal campaign to say no excuses. I don't want to hear injuries. You drafted all those hurt players. I don't want to hear injuries. You brought in injured players in free agency. Don't tell me it's injuries is the problem, and this is why we're not doing things. These are people that y'all said y'all were on board with taking, and so I don't want that. For me, I'm holding them to a strong brimstone fire where it's like, look, it's result time. But the reason why majority of the times that those other things didn't work out is because this fan base subscribed to things that they should not subscribe to. Like, it takes 3 years to change a culture. We got to stop with that shit. It don't take 3 years to change a culture. It's already been changed in 1 year under Dan Campbell, and many of the fan base still think like it takes 3 years to change a culture, and it's like, it doesn't. It doesn't take that long. It happens that fast when you get the right coach.
Well, look at the Bengals when Burrow went down that year, and they had an abysmal season. Turned around and was in the Super Bowl.
And that's the head coach's 3rd year, though. He was on a hot seat.
Okay, but still, it happened.
I mean, but there's so many examples of teams turning it around in 1 year. Even the Bears, when they got trash Matt Nagy that year, went nuts the first year under him. Like, it doesn't take much for you to turn it around.
Yeah, if we'd have had better talent last year, I'd have expected more. I'm going to say that last year. But, and I'm not just saying injuries, I'm just saying we didn't have any depth of talent last year at all. We had like a section of a newspaper in talent, and this year we got a novella to a novel of talent compared to last year.
And that was also, last year was one off season and one full season of taking out Patricia's trash. Now it's pretty much all gone. And I think a lot of the wiser side of the fan base doesn't understand how far our talent level had dropped off in those
Right.
in the Quinn Trisha era, because they got all those players that fit his scheme, and his scheme sucks ass.
This is true.
Yeah.
I'm also on that verbatim too, to where I want the players and the coaches to prove it to me, because so many times before, NFL Network and other variety of TV verbatims would say, hey, the Lions are going to do this year. The Lions are going to be this powerhouse, or they're going to be this team that nobody should sleep on. The Lions are going to could be a sleeper playoff team that nobody expects. I don't want to hear that. I want them to prove it. Show it on the field is what I'm saying.
All right.
For me, what I'm going to say is this. I want to believe, but I'm also holding my tongue, because I don't want to say, this and that, and I don't want to have a higher standard, and then I'm going to look stupid, and then I'm going to feel like, hey, I had a higher standard and I was let down. That's what I don't want to happen.
Nah, Andrew. Nah. Let me tell you. Let me reverse that way of thinking for you. Right.
Right.
Andrew, do you have kids?
No, sir.
Nope.
Oh,
Okay.
he is a kid, sir.
Listen. Let's not act like kids ain't having kids now.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So I'm just saying. So let's reverse this. Let's look at the Lions. Let's say the Lions is your son, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your son is going to school, and your son comes and let's say your son brings you really bad grades, like all F's. Are you going to say to yourself, I don't want to get my hopes up telling him he can get all A's knowing that he can't? Or are you going to be like, no, let me encourage him and let him know what my expectations are is to get A's? Because when I look at sports, I think we as fans do psych ourselves out and saying, I don't want to be let down. If you're let down, it's because they failed your expectations, and you should hold them to that, right? Just like no different than if you had, say, a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to have certain standards with your girlfriend where you're going to expect for her not to cheat on you. And when she lets you down, you have the right to be upset. The thing I find funny with this fan base, us as Lion fans, is we don't want to set high expectations for the fear of being let down. You already been let down before. Start setting high expectations, and it will reflect the team, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's like I also don't want to set higher expectations, and then I don't want to look like a fool in the process for setting those expectations.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Andrew? And this is not even me being like joking. Every great person has looked like a fool. The guy who came up with Snuggies, like just think about this. The Snuggie whole brand is a backwards robe. How in the hell did he do that? Just by saying, you know what? If I turn this around and call it Snuggie, it'll sell, and it's selling like hotcakes.
Still.
Yeah. So being looking like a fool and stuff like that means that you are a thinker, you are an innovator. So
you're a Lions fan. You're gonna look like a fool at some point.
Listen.
Oh yeah.
Even the Patriots fans look like a fool at some point. They act like they don't lost their damn dog. Tom Brady left. You have the greatest coach in NFL history. What are you panicking?
Well, I mean, we can go into that another day, but I think it's pretty imminent that the Patriots were led by Tom Brady and not Bill Belichick.
Andrew, don't monopolize the talking time. We got a lot of people here. I want to get everybody's opinion, and I got comments to deal with too. You keep going, and I can't get to them.
Sorry.
Facebook user, winning the division is highly important. We look good on paper, but they have to prove it. And that is a great point. That's a fact. The Roar with Jake D, they still don't have enough difference makers, in my opinion. But one good thing about last season was the amount of rookies that got playing time. Experience is the best teacher. Joseph Jones said, send me the link. And somebody said, Joseph Jones, and they will. The young guys are hungry. They want to eat.
Good. They're good.
Yeah, I think that was the only good thing about our rash of injuries last year was how much rookies and young guys got to play. I mean, look what happened with AO with Akuda going down. That was the best thing that could have ever happened to him on the Aurier.
Cream
now
rises to
Okuda
the
comes-
top.
And now Okuda comes back with less pressure on him.
And how stupid do the other 31 teams look for letting him fall to the 5th round?
I always thought Amani Aurier was a second round pick at best. I thought that it was a mistake he fell that far, and I also thought that Amani Aurier balled out from the time he got here. I never had a problem with Amani Aurier. I thought he always was a stud.
Before right when we picked him, I said that's a steal.
Let's let Dan talk there. Dan Leonard was saying ready to say something.
Character concerns is why he fell.
Yeah. He fell because of those sexual allegations that ended up being bogus and it found out that it was bogus right after the draft.
Yep.
That's what it was.
It was started by an NFL GM, I bet. Probably a lot. I got him.
I think all of us thought he was a steal there at that point, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even have that much film on him. I'm like, who's this guy? I had heard of him. But I was like, who's this guy? He's huge.
Who you talking about, Amani?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on Amani from the time he was at Penn State. I was watching the game against Michigan State, and I was like, what the hell did I just did? He was everywhere, and I was like, oh, this dude's really good. And, fans, but even now, I've heard Lions fans say that we should get rid of him. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I've heard so many people say we should get rid of this guy or get rid of that guy, and it's been that's been irritating. One bit of NFL news today: the Lions signed former Steelers nose tackle who was actually signed to the Raiders for the playoff game that they were in. Isaiah Buggs, nose tackle in a 3-4 defense. He has played 29 games. He hasn't performed up to the level he was drafted at. That's why he was cut by the Steelers. That being said, it is a nice depth piece, seeing how we only have one true nose tackle on the roster.
That's not a signing. Listen, I'm convinced that they are breaking in people to cut for Hard Knocks. I am convinced of this. There's no way in hell you're gonna tell me they're so sold on a guy. I'm just not buying it.
I mean, I'm glad to see that they're adding depth for once along the D line, but I mean, this guy's probably, in my opinion, unless he proves otherwise, just a camp body.
Love it. That's what I'm saying. He's there so they can be like another Lions hopeful gets released. Yeah, hey,
but in that regards, you have to look. He has played in more games than Jashawn Cornell, and he may be able to take him out of the picture.
All I'm saying is, and
still talking about Bugs.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, and I could be wrong. All right, I could be wrong.
I'm all for.
You could be wrong.
I'm all for added depth and better competitions in training camp in the preseason.
I mean,
may the best men win.
Cornell and Bryant has been injury plagued their entire career, and it may be putting them on notice. That's another way to look at it too.
Can we also right now and say a prayer together for Bryant's health, because we all know how good he is when he's healthy. If he's healthy.
Let's say a prayer for the entire team's health, because I don't want to see us get freaking screwed up by that injury bug like many years past. So
hey, let's pray for more wins. That's what I would like to say.
We could do that too. You're allowed to mention more than one thing in a prayer.
I am still sticking with my guns that no matter how bad it gets injury-wise, we should have no less than 7 wins and a ceiling of 10.
That's what I've said this whole time.
Yeah.
JB, you know what you need to really pray for? The week 11 and 12 games being freaking rescheduled to home games, and you guys not having to go to the Meadowlands to play on that.
Yeah, that field scares me more than any team we face.
Same.
I've said it ever since the schedule came out that we play both New York teams on the road. That kind of sucks with the injuries we've had over the past 3 seasons.
On the worst field in the.
And then Joseph Hose says, I think we have the talent on offense and defense for a better start than we had last year. I agree with that. I mean, overall, we have better depth. I mean, the only position we're actually weak at for depth right now is middle linebacker.
Yeah, I'm praying that the linebacking core, man, this safety room is still a problem for me. It just is, and I wish I can act like it's not, but it is. It's a huge issue.
Middle linebacker and safety is a huge issue.
And the Malcolm Rodriguez hype is killing me softly. I don't even smoke, but every time I hear Malcolm Rodriguez and how great this, I wish I had a pack of Cools or something. Like, it's ridiculous.
Are you afraid he's another Zach Follett? Oh my God! I just put it out into the atmosphere, and I'm sorry. I take it back.
But you know what? That's a good example, because he was another person that people was hyped about, and it just didn't pan out for whatever reason.
Zach Follett got the biggest height on that big hit his rookie year on special teams.
Wasn't he doing something crazy in the offseason, working out before we drafted him?
Yeah.
Like carrying around like tree trunks or something?
Yeah.
He also used to write the concussion answers on his arm.
Steve Bauer says, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Okudah and Jared Davis both excel this season. They were both stuck in Patricia's shit scheme and are going to turn it around under Glenn. That's the hope. That is the hope. But, that was the stupidest thing about that 2019 draft. After it looked like Jared Davis had a light go on and he actually looked somewhat better at the end of the 2018 season, and then we drafted Tavai.
Oh man, Tavai! I still remember to this day when we made that pick. They cut to commercial because they didn't have tape on the guy. I just can't forget that. It's crazy.
And Logan Erickson comes in. What's up, guys? Go Lions! One pride. Yeah,
we're just talking one pride. I still try to forget Jelani Tavai was a Lion.
I was out and about somewhere, but I saw it come on the ticker on Bleacher Report, and I'm like, who? Like, I literally never heard his name before.
Right.
The announcer said the same thing. The
scariest part of that pick was when they had to go to commercial for almost 10 minutes to find film on him because he was supposed to be a day 3 pick.
I don't think Jelani Tavai was necessarily a bad pick. Again, it's hard for me to judge any player that was coached by that idiot, and so I don't take too harsh against him because he had somewhat success, but it's still you make a guy add on that much weight. I don't know what you expect to happen, right?
And he was already slow.
Yeah, like we one of the things that, like, I remember when I had my first son, we had this baby shower game where they would put like this a pregnant bump suit on you, and hell, I was exhausted off of that. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would y'all make this game up? So to me, to add that kind of weight on and say, yep, he's going to be better like this. Yeah, it was never going to be a success for him. But
it was a bad look.
To me, we need to start to identify certain things when it comes to this team, like what's going to be the key points of changing this team around. Because when I look at our roster, it's not changed very much. If in all honesty, it's not. Many of the same players are still there. If you look at it, what did we really lose? It wasn't like we lost all this great talent and stuff. That didn't happen.
No, we lost a lot of bad talent. That's what we lost.
I don't think we lost bad talent. This is what I think. I think that we had players last year that could have won. I think we had the injury bug. It happened. But I think that when you look at this roster now, it's not much different than from last year. It's just not. So if you go through and you look at it right now, Trey Flowers gone. Okay. Was he bad?
Right.
But I wasn't. We didn't lose. Bad. He wasn't great.
We didn't have a lot of talent to lose, I think is what we were all trying to get at. Like the cupboards were so bare, we were just getting rid of the cans that had botulism and the jar of peanut butter from 1984.
I love that analogy.
And whatever that was in the freezer in the aluminum foil that we don't even remember purchasing or putting in there.
Right. Logan Erickson says, I have to be honest here. I love Tavai when we drafted him. Obviously, my thoughts have changed since then.
What? Is he being serious? Logan, you're out of the fan base.
Sir.
They listen. I'm sorry. You got to toss me out too because I didn't. The Tavai pick didn't bother me like that. I didn't.
It was
care.
a reach, though. It could
It
have worked,
was.
maybe, but it was a reach.
The only time a pick is ever a reach. The only time a pick is ever a reach is when they don't work out. I never hear nobody say it's a reach when they work out. If they work out, they're not a reach. And so my thing is name a player that worked out that somebody said was a reach.
Gosh, that's a good one.
They don't exist.
They don't. Tavai, the Pillsbury Doughboy of Palomalu, AJB.
That's horrible.
That is the comment of the night, but it's funny.
Yeah, that coach was terrible, man, and it got worse because they won it 3 years. But the truth is this: going forward, this is what I expect to see from people like Dan Campbell and stuff. And it's truthfully my overall view of this is Dan Campbell needs to keep them still motivated. That's one, but two, he needs to show strides in keeping that same aggression while making the offense more explosive and the defense more unpredictable. And to me, if Dan Campbell can find a way to get that done, we'll be rolling fine. Like I said, everything is lined up. In terms of our rookies, expectations from this fan base got to go up, okay? I know everybody likes to look at it and say, oh, well, we only gave up a third-round pick for Jamison Williams. Well, guess what? All right, he's still going to be playing in at least 7 games. And if he plays in at least those 7 games, you need to have realistic expectations for those 7 games. When it comes to Aiden Hutchinson, you should expect double-digit sacks because that's exactly what they pay those people for. That's what those people get drafted high for, is to get to the quarterback and get them down quickly.
And to your point there on Aiden Hutchinson, I do expect 10 sacks. You can ask anybody on the panel that's been on with me, and I've said the reason why they'll get it. We play the 2 worst O-lines twice.
Yep.
We play the Bears O-line that is trash. I mean, it's so trash, he should have 4 sacks a game in those.
Max Crosby, a 4th-round pick, had 10 sacks his rookie season.
Yep. And that's the the first pro comp I saw for Aiden Hutchinson.
But here's the thing. He got his 10 sacks in 7 games.
Yes, he did.
So
I don't want to interrupt, guys. I just found out Afro Man's in center line, like right now. Center line, Michigan. I got to go.
Okay.
Have a good show, guys.
Yep. Take it easy, Dom.
Fuck.
That being said, anybody that wants to meet Eric Hipple, he's going to be in Frankenmuth, Michigan tomorrow.
Oh, wow. I never would have thought. Eric Hipple.
That was announced on the news at 6 o'clock tonight for the local news.
Wait a minute. That's serious. That ain't no joke. That's serious.
Yeah. Eric Hipple.
But really, I think, honestly, the bad talent that we got rid of was just not going to help us anyway. They weren't. And to be honest, we got a lot to work on and improve before we talk about 10 wins or...
No, that's the past fan base speaking in you. We can't temper our enthusiasm anymore.
Right.
We need to hold them accountable. If you look on paper, this team should be competing for the North.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Let me backtrack that a little. We got to start competing for the division now. We want to win the division, right? We got to compete for it right now. It's now or never. We got to win the division and finish it out.
And as of right now, I heard Pascal's on the PUP list for training camp. Isn't that right, Luke G?
Yep.
Yeah, because it's a groin / upper leg injury, and then I've heard on another report it's a sports hernia. And groin injury, when it's said in the NFL in that plain thing, and people miss like 4 to 6 games, 9 times out of 10 it is a sports hernia, which is a hernia, but it's not a major strain hernia like if you get one from trying to lift an engine block.
So he strained his badge. We got you.
Right.
I mean, again, it saddens me to hear Chicken Nugget talk about we got to temper that, because I can literally look at 8 games that I just wrote literally in pen, permanent marker, that those are wins. And
right. I said the same thing. And then there's like 4 toss-up games, and then there's 5 games where, wow, we should be underdogs. And that's what I'm saying.
And plus, like you said, all of your hardest games are at home.
Yes.
And I don't want to be that guy that talks about this, but we also have to be realistic. And I know Dom has brought this up, and I know it pisses people off when Dom brings this up.
There's no more because Lions. That culture's gone. They proved that when they beat 2 number 1 seeds last year. We haven't done that before. We have never done that in the same season, whether a winning record or a losing record in the past.
Yeah, I just try to hold my optimism.
You hold your optimism because you're used to being disappointed. You know what? It's okay to get disappointed. You know what fail means? First attempt in learning.
Yeah, true.
Do you quit every time you fail?
No.
At first, if you don't succeed, you should dust it off and try again.
Yes,
exactly.
Sir.
Okay, can I get my opinion on this real quick?
Sure.
Now, of course, you're going to want the team to be competing for the division and all that, but you can understand people being like skeptical about it. Frickin' Campbell, last year was his first year as a true head coach. He still has to get some of the time management stuff taken care of. That alone would have made that a 5 or 6 win team. So there's good stuff to be like, tough word. Good things to be freaking seeing here. The team does have the potential to win 10 games, but you can still see where people are a little hesitant on.
Well, there's a reason why I put the window of wins at 7 to 10, because there is no reason this roster should not be at least able to double the win total from last year. Luke G just said he penciled in 8 wins in permanent marker.
I mean, you have
Giants
to look
better
at
not be one of those wins.
It might be.
Better not be.
I mean, and again, let's say the Lions don't win the division, right? That's cool, right? That's cool. They don't win the division. They should definitely be in the mix for it, and they should definitely be a playoff team. And so, even if you want to reel back your, like for me, I put it out there a couple of days ago. 6 wins is not good enough.
No.
If he wins 5 wins, he's on the hot seat. If he wins 3 wins, he's fired for me. And if he gets 6, well, I'm beyond disappointed, because if you can't win more games with this schedule, it's not like it's gonna get easier.
Right. I mean, we had the 5th hardest schedule last year, and we totally flipped that script to the 5th easiest schedule.
Third easiest. We tied for third.
No, it's 5th. NFC East, all 4 teams are behind us in the schedule rankings. And the only reason why they're ranked lower is they pay each other's trash teams twice.
You know what? You better stop talking bad about my division, there, JB.
I always will.
But you know what? That division has more Super Bowls than any other division put together.
Cowboys don't count.
That argument is, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that.
Cowboys don't count because they still have to dust off those Super Bowls.
Yeah,
Here's the reason why it should be better anyways. You got a total offensive and defensive scheme change in Minnesota, and we've seen this before. Almost every team that does both a major scheme change, there's a learning curve, and it takes them 4 to 6 games to catch their footing in the league. Am I right or wrong on that, Luke?
No, you're right, and it's one of the reasons why the standard should be higher for us as a fan base. If you're telling me that teams who are coming in with first-year head coaches have surpassed us and beat us in head-to-head, that's a problem.
Right,
that's a problem, because they're in year 1 of their rebuild. We are in year 2 of our build. I hate the word rebuild because we ain't won.
I ain't calling it a rebuild. It's a build, period, because we've stripped it to the studs. It ain't a rebuild. A rebuild is when you just start over with a couple of pieces here and there. No, we stripped it to the studs, started from the trenches out, and continued with the trenches to start. Added a couple nice flashy pieces, but we don't know what they're going to do yet because they may not be on the field at the beginning of the season. And that's the only time you should be tempered, but that's an easy part of the schedule outside of that Eagles game.
I mean,
am I wrong?
I mean, just look at the schedule, right?
Yeah.
Just look at the schedule.
Week 1 and 2 at home. You got the Eagles, which should be a tough contest because they've got a great O-line. They've got a good D-line. They are one of the most improved teams this year. Then you got the Washington Commanders with the head case Carson Wentz at quarterback, which one week you might get the guy that looked like MVP wins, and the next week you might get Nathan Peterman.
Who do we play week 3?
Week 3, we go to Minnesota in the middle of a scheme change at the beginning of the season. Then we come back home, right?
So
Yeah,
basically,
then Seattle, who's trash, who might end up going 0-17 this year because they got a bad O-line too. I think they were ranked in the bottom 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they going back to their roots. They're going to be running the ball.
Seattle, according to PFF, has the 32nd offensive line. Chicago has the 31st.
Okay, so there's 2 bad ones. What's the Jags O-line ranked now?
I think it's like number 30 or 29. It's down there too.
So we play 3 of the 4 worst O-lines in the league, not just the division or the. With the amount of stuff we added, if James Houston is even a sniff of what he looked like at Jackson State, as a rotational piece, he's going to help. If Jared Davis is moved to the outside and used as a missile in pass rushing with Julian Aquara, Charles Harris, Aiden Hutchinson, if Pascal's healthy by week 1, this is going to look good.
Yeah.
If you just go through and group all the games, you can see how easy it's going to be, right? Like if I were to go through and group my 8 wins, Panthers, Bears twice, that's 3, right? Jets 4. You go down, Giants 5. I think they beat Seattle 6. Split
Washington
Vikings 7. Washington is a game that's a trap game. We historically do not do well against Washington,
except at home.
We historically, I don't know. I can't remember if it was at home or on the road, but I can tell you that historically they beat us all the time.
It was on the road. We didn't win since 91 until 2016.
What about the Patriots? Do you consider that a win or a loss?
Well, that's on the road. That one's a toss-up because you're going up against Bill. I mean, Bill has got one of the best coaches one of the best games in the game. He gave Patricia that win in 2018, which turned it around a little bit for him, and then he went right back to Trasha the next game.
Yeah, I mean, if you just think if they split if they sweep the Bears, split the division, that's 4 wins. You beat the Seattle Seahawks, that's 5. You beat the Giants, that's 6. You beat the Jets, 7. You beat the
Jaguars, that's 8,
and the Panthers is 9.
And then all you got to do is win one of those toss-ups in the middle.
And
that's what I'm saying.
And to be honest with you, it's not even a must win. It's a need to win. We need to win these games. We need to. It ain't no must. It's a need to.
With Dan Campbell's ability to get the best out of his players, y'all seen what he did with the backups and the UDFAs last year, coupled with the fact that we can keep the injuries at a minimal. There's no reason why we can't win anywhere from 7 to 10 games. So
most of those UDFAs and rookies that came in, they helped out pretty well last year, especially for a 3-win team.
Dan Campbell has that mentality. He ain't going to let any of his players quit. If they're quitters, then I don't see them on this team for very long.
No turds on the roster.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been biting kneecaps, even at 3 wins. We're going to bite even more.
And who bit the first kneecap last year? Do you guys remember? Because I called it. I called it out. We took out David Montgomery. Who was it?
Mm-hmm. We sure did.
I'm trying to remember his name.
David
Montgomery against the Bears, the first game, second quarter, he was taken out for the game.
It was an undrafted rookie?
Nope.
I can't remember what happened in that game.
It was a veteran.
It was Charles Harris.
Oh.
He was the entry. It's the intro guy.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to I think this team looks like they're heading in the right direction.
Yep.
I think this team schedule gives you hope. The coaching staff gives you hope.
And the second most days of rest between games. But
this team needs to. the work is far from done. And
Oh.
I know that we still have a second wave of free agency when they do all the cuts. They have to add something else to the secondary in terms of the safety spot and that linebacker spot. I can't imagine just riding with Alex Anzalone, who's average at best.
You know my nickname for him. I've said it lots of times. It's Analese.
Yeah,
Because the way he whiff tackles on running backs, it fucks the defense.
I feel like this team needs so much. It would have been so much better for them to take that linebacker instead of Jamison Williams.
If they'd have took Devin Lloyd right there, I'd have been all in on this defense. That's who I thought we were getting.
Yeah, he was sitting right there at 12.
Same here. I had my fingers crossed. I'm like, please take Devin Lloyd, and then they announced the trade. I'm like,
because that time I was in the live chat with Jeremy, and I was looking at Jeremy. He said, "Don't you say it." I'm like, you know what I'm thinking? We're gonna take it at 12. He was like, "Don't you say it." And then we took Jamison Williams. I'm like, okay, that's not what I was thinking at all. I'm like, I was thinking,
Jeremy, I'm gonna let you know this. We picked up two of the best players in the draft, offense and defense. That's the craziest part.
That's the potential of it.
That's subjective. Yeah,
in other words, it's the potential to be. It's potential to be. If you look at everything on paper, it looks like it, but we've seen this before.
Huh?
We've seen this before.
I hate to say it.
Well,
there's been one player.
All the COVIDs are running. Oh, sorry,
I'm going to mute you, David. Oh, you got it?
So do you want me to come in for the sometime tomorrow?
First preseason game is August 12th, right? Versus Falcons?
Yes. Yes.
August 12th, Dad. 3 days after the Hard Knocks premiere on HBO.
Yeah, the preseason game that people should care about is the Colts, because that's the game where they're going to pray to God that the Colts do practice on that run game a little bit more.
So we can practice stopping the run.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if we have problems stopping the run for real, as much as it just didn't. You had so many injuries. Like, good grief.
Yeah, we had so many injuries.
Tackle past the line of scrimmage. That's why the game
our linebackers, outside or inside, could not tackle a running back. And that's why Tracy Walker led the team in tackles again.
Our injuries were so bad, we just had to sign that practice squad guys at the practice squad guys last year. It was crazy.
We were signing grocery clerks to play wide receiver, corner, and safety.
Yeah.
We were trying to find the Kurt Warner of those positions.
It's sad, but it's true.
And yes, I loved, you know what? We normally don't draft injured players, and I understand it, but maybe it's reverse mentality thinking with the new strength and conditioning coaches and the way they're doing the medical facility and everything with the Lions. Maybe they're doing reverse psychology on it, saying, hey, if we draft them injured and get them healthy, maybe they won't get injured. I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
You brought up a good point, too, because Brad Holmes talked about that very same thing. He's like, usually I don't draft injury-prone players that have been injured coming into the draft. But he's like, I changed my philosophy on Jamison Williams because I watched the tape and I loved what I saw from him.
Well, Dave Phipp is the one that put him onto him because of Williams' return ability, because he returns 1 out of 5 kickoffs for touchdowns.
I wouldn't.
But that's not what they're going to use him at. You know, I mean, they can't. If they use them at that, then why keep Raymond? Why keep Pimbleton? Why keep any of those returners on the roster? That means you to keep the receivers, the ones that don't do that.
It wouldn't make no sense.
That means that we would be cutting Raymond, cutting Pimbleton, and keeping Sutton and Benson.
And plus, ain't J-Mo on the IR, if I'm not mistaken?
IR, no, he's on the pup list.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
physically unable to play. But there's two different IRs now. There's the IR that's out for the season. Then there's the IR that says you can come back after 6 weeks. They changed that.
It's going to
And
be
with the
very
pup list,
interesting.
they made it so you can have 8 players on the pup list now, which basically is 8 extra roster spots. That means you can have your practice squad and UDFAs play in their place to have more depth and not affect the practice squad.
This team still need work.
It does. Hey, I'm not saying it don't. I'm not saying it don't. I have never said this team don't need work. It needs work. But I like the direction the build is going.
Again, everything sounds good right now. They have to still prove it, and it starts at week 1. It starts at week 1 against the Eagles, coming out, getting the home win, something we ain't done in a long time. That's gonna be the first nail to put.
And if we don't get the home win, like if it's a close game where it's hard fought and we're not blowed out like we were last year by them, that is a win mentally over what happened last year. And I'm not talking about a moral victory.
I feel like they need to win. They in my heart of heart, they should beat the Eagles. I am not impressed with the Eagles enough to act like that's going to be a hard game for us. We should beat the Eagles. It's week 1. You're at home. You should beat the Eagles. And if you're losing to the Eagles at home, that's a problem.
We drafted 2 players that were injured in the first round. Pascal was second round, so you're mistaken, Joseph Host. Is the pup list 6 games or 6 weeks? It's 6 weeks. So if he is on the pup list at week 1 of the preseason, he could come back as early as week 3.
I thought they did something new where they reduced it to 4.
No, there's a 4-week IR.
Oh, okay.
But that doesn't start till the beginning of the season, whereas the pup list counts from preseason into the season. That's why I think Jameson Williams will be put on that pup list, because then he's available by week 3 if fully healthy.
Yeah, Jameson Williams not get. If I'm a betting guy, and I'm not usually a betting guy, but I will bet on this, I don't think Jameson Williams gets in until like the end of October, early November.
Yeah, I'm saying right around the time we play New England or when we come back to play the Cowboys.
No. So New England game
is week 5.
The New England game is October 9th, right? I'm thinking I could be wrong, but I'm thinking he don't come back until that game against Miami or Green Bay.
Oof, I don't think they're going to keep him out that long. I just don't. Because according to his doctors, and I'm not going by what Woodward Sports says or what this guy says, according to his doctor's reports, he's on schedule to be ready by week 1. But if he's put on the pup list, that's 6 games. If they do that, if they put him on the pup list at preseason week 1, that means he's available by week 3. But I still say they don't bring him back till at least week 5 or week 7, because week 6 is the bye week.
So if he's back by the game against Dallas, I mean, that's still technically towards the end of October, but I just don't. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And then
and if he does come back week 5 or 7, that's going to build more of an impact for the offense.
Because then it comes with the speed we got. And let's say Trinity Benson does make the roster. I don't see it happen, but he's a 4-3 guy. We got Reynolds, it's a 4-4, 4-3, depending on which combine numbers you look at. You got Jameson Williams, if he's anywhere close to what he ran prior to getting hurt at Alabama and what the scouts said he ran at one was a 4.21 and one was a 4.27. If he's anywhere near that speed, go ahead, Trayvon Diggs, try to cover him.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that 4.21, 4.27 speed. That's BS. He never ran that.
He also had the fastest GPS time at just under 24 miles per hour in college.
Yeah,
he also has a second speed as in a 98 on Madden 27.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to Madden ratings. Madden ratings, because of how they've dogged Detroit over the years, they don't matter. They got Jerry Jacobs, who actually played very well and had a good QBR against, and they only rated him a 67. They didn't even give him a 70.
I'm not buying that running shit. This is why they have the NFL Combine. People, they lie. I'm living proof that they lie. I'm 5'11", right? Like I'm not tall, right? But when I came out of high school, I was listed as 6'1", right?
Right.
And when I got to college and started playing, I looked at the little sheet that they had for me. They had me listed as 6'2". So I know they're full of shit when they're lying.
I think
I'm
they're
nowhere
adding
near
the helmet.
6'2".
They're adding the helmet.
Shit, hey, something. So I'm just saying they definitely lie. I'm not buying that he got all this speed and to be honest with you, I hate to say this, and I get a lot of flack for saying this, but speed is cool. It don't matter. Some of the greatest players were not fast.
Right. I mean, look at Cooper Kupp. He ran a 4.65.
Shoot, Landry ran a 4.7 or 4.8. There's a lot of people. Them 40 times. It's a joke. I don't take no solace in being like.
I mean, the only
40.
The only thing I can say is you can't teach speed. And that's it.
Hey, Jeremy, was Calvin Johnson fast on his pro?
Calvin Johnson was that rare combination of speed and height.
Yeah, he was like 4.34, 4.37,
4.35. 4.35.
So in the area. So,
so Christian Watson is a lighter version of him, but with way more drops in his college career.
I wish we took Christian Watson.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't, but we didn't have that pick. Minnesota traded it to Green Bay. Yeah, I know. If we both fell exactly where I said they were, 32 and 34.
I know another player Jeremy wanted, and that's the player that the Falcons took.
Oh, shut up. Troy Anderson. I wanted him bad.
Why?
I like the kid. I watched a lot of his game film. He's a sideline to sideline defender. He does decent in coverage. He's just an all-around athlete.
You'd have took him over a lot of the other linebackers?
No, I'm saying if the draft would have fell the way a lot of the mocks went, with a lot of linebackers going in the first round, and he was there at 34, I'd have had to make a big decision between Christian Watson and Troy Anderson.
That'd have been a real easy decision for me because I'd have just took the receiver. But that's just me. But I think again, this is what I love about football. They have to get on the field and play.
Right.
I remember the year that we took T.J. Hockenson, and I had so many Lions fans mad at me because they was like, we should have took Ed Oliver, and I'm like, okay. And then you had the super Michigan fans. No offense to you, Michigan fans. I'm not hating on you, but I'm just saying who wanted Devin Bush, and I was like, you want an undersized linebacker? Oh, he's going to be great. Okay.
Then you had the Simmons in the Clemson draft that I know Luke G wanted.
It was the only pick that made sense.
It was.
It was the only one that made sense. You literally could not find his pedigree of talent even to today. And the sad part about it is guess what happened? When you look at it, they still regretted that pick. You had Okuda, who everybody claims a shutdown corner. I watched him get torched by Donovan Peoples-Jones and all the receivers from Michigan, and he held them the entire game. And for some reason, the refs never called it. Maybe because it's Ohio State. And I walked away feeling like this is stupid. But
okay, Joseph Host says, Jeremy, we just don't have the talent to win the division this year. I'm not saying we do, but there's a chance we could. You don't understand what I'm trying to say there, because look at the wide receiver room for the Packers this year. And I understand Aaron Rodgers is great and he's going to make some of them better. But when your healthiest receiver is a rookie and unproven in Christian Watson, Anthony Lazard plays 8 to 10 games a year. Randall Cobb plays 8 to 12 games a year. Sammy Watkins plays 8 to 12 games per year. Mm-hmm. That's 3 guys that's ahead of him in the depth chart that may not play the entire season. And then you're going to be going to their UDFAs and everybody else behind that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Christian Watson is going to be a bona fide starter for them. I think Sammy Watkins will be just fine. I think Ellen Lazard will be just fine. I'm not worried about Randall Cobb. I think Amari Rogers will be just fine. And I think Romeo Dobbs will be just fine. And when you go through and you look at all the people that they've added, I have no doubt, at least in my mind, that their receiving core ain't suffering that much. Because while everybody wants to point to the fact that Adams is not there, which is a good thing in most cases, I get it. But as a whole, their receiving room is still not weak.
I didn't say it was weak. I'm just saying it's less than it has been. That's what I was getting at. And that is the God's honest truth.
Man, Aaron Rodgers can make anybody look better. Anybody. No matter the name, no matter if it's a no name
I
or
just hate giving him that much credit because what
I
has
do
he
too.
done?
I
What has
know.
he done since he won the Super Bowl? 7 and
nothing.
9 in
He
the
has done
playoffs.
nothing. He's done nothing, but he's still one of those guys that you would sit there and say he's top 5 regardless or not. But
Yeah, but
if you look at if you look at it, if you look at it, he's been to the playoffs. He's won the division multiple times. He's done.
He's Dan
And
Marino.
yeah, he's Dan Marino. Yes, he's Dan Marino without the I'm too sexy for my shorts look. Okay, now that okay, Jeremy, stop it with the smile. I know.
I can't help it. I can't help it because I love that comment that I said. He's Dan Marino.
Yeah, I
He's good
know.
enough to get you there, but not enough to take you to the dance. It's the same reason why he can't keep a girlfriend. He can't get him a ring.
Hey, take that
wow.
back. Olivia was hot. That was a hot
Hey,
girlfriend he had.
I said he can't keep a girlfriend. He can't give him a ring. That's it.
Well, yeah, you got a point there. But anyways, honestly, I think Malcolm Rodriguez, to me, seriously, on a serious note, I think Malcolm Rodriguez is definitely a good guy that I could consider a heart and soul type player. Even though he fell to the 6th round, he has a lot of potential, man.
He
I
was
mean, look at
projected
the
as a
kid.
4th-round pick. There's a reason he fell. He's undersized. He's
Yeah.
N'Kobe Dean at Oklahoma State. If he'd have been on the Alabama or Georgia roster, he'd have been a 1st-round talent.
But hey, I
But he
mean,
wasn't.
some guys turn out to be diamonds in the rough. Some guys do. Me and you talked about this before. We know that some guys fall to the right rounds and end up becoming surprising players that we never think would be good, but they'll be coming out good.
Yes.
But other than that, I just think that he was one guy I knew that was going to fall to the Lions. Obviously, I've seen that. It was some other guys I didn't think that would go to us, but it was him overall I thought that would be a part of our roster.
Malcolm Rodriguez is a special teams player. We got to stop with this hyping up these people. The best analogy I can give for Malcolm Rodriguez is Zach Follett. We doing too much, okay? Like it's Malcolm. It's a special teams guy. We don't have to sugarcoat it or butter it and act like he's doing anything special. He's not reinventing the wheel. He's not going to come in and change anything. He's a special teams guy. And the only way he'll ever get a start if everybody else literally passed away or just freaking passed out. Either way it go, it's not happening. We got to stop with the hyping up players because they sound good. They got a feel good story and everything else. I'm sick of it. In fact, I wish they'd do away with that during the draft. Hey, this guy right here, his parents passed away. I don't want to hear about it, okay? You want to give me a biopic about him, feel free to do so. But in the meantime, just tell me what he did on the field.
Okay, but I got a quick question for you. What type of players would you want on your team?
I want the kind of players that's going to come in. I want some bad guys with a little bit of stand-up guys with a little bit of this, but they all got to be leaders in their mindset to say that they want to be great because that's the mindset that they got to have. It's one of the things that you look at with some of the best athletes in the world. They had a mindset that I'm not as good as I could be, and that's what I'm looking for in my players. Right now, we are following the trend of take the good guys. I want some bad guys. I want Ndamukong Suh to stump on your fucking head. I want Vontaze Butterfield to knock you off when you come across the middle of the field and let you know I'm still there. I need a bad guy. Every great defensive team has a bad guy. If you look at the Rams, Aaron Donald is the bad guy. You keep going down the list, and you look at the top teams in this league, they have bad guys mixed with good guys and stand-up guys, but they all have a mentality that I'm not as good as I could be. So when it comes to me and my players, I'm looking for people who want to beat themselves before they beat the man across from them.
That's a beautiful answer.
Thank you.
I actually love that answer. Besides the fact that I love chicken nuggets too, but
Well,
anyways, that's just cool.
We know that because you're the chicken nugget king.
Yes, sir.
But that being
Yeah.
said, let's get into a little more NFL news. Josh Rosen was signed after his workout the other day to the Browns. And that's kind of just an insurance policy for when the Watson suspension is laid down.
Who should not be suspended.
No, after what the Texans had to do with the remaining complaining people that didn't want to sue him and sued the team, which is what all of them should have did. They all should have sued the team because they allowed it to continue to happen.
I don't think Watson should be suspended. I think this is absurd, and this is the thing that I don't get. the Texans said in their statement that settling with them is not an admission of guilt. So the settlement part doesn't matter to me. What I have a problem with is this, and this only happens with athletes. They're guilty until proven innocent. And I'm like,
Right.
it's supposed to be the other way around. I just think about this, right? Every community is a small community. So the nurses community is a small community, the construction worker community is a small community, the massage therapist community is a small community. You telling me he did all this stuff to all these women and nobody heard about it? Over 30 women just showed up like,
No.
he grabbed me by the butt. Like, come on.
When the NFL did their investigation, it was a total of 66 massage therapists since his rookie year. They had lodged complaints
Yeah, I'm not buying.
with the Texans.
I'm not
The
buying.
Texans settled with 30 women. The Texans, not Watson. The Texans settled with 30 women that were suing them. There's only, and after the 20 that Deshaun settled with, that means that it leaves, what, 16 more out there that there's court case, civil cases with?
But
That's ridiculous.
No, 30 and 20 is 50. So if you
Only
want to say
16, 66.
Okay.
Honestly, I could piggy bank and tell you that Rosen was going to be. The moment Rosen even went in the league, I already knew he was going to be a bounce around the league type guy. I already knew that.
Yeah, I don't think Deshaun Watson should get suspended because he was the whole thing about what they're arguing is conduct detrimental to the league. You can't say he did this conduct. What generally happens is one person makes a statement and then a bunch of other people see a cash grab and jump on it. And this has happened throughout the history and everything that I ever seen. I have a hard time buying that these things happen with 66 people. Like, that would be saying that he thought 66 women who came to him was attractive enough to do these things. I
said one of two things. If that was really happening and they were lodging their complaint with the Texans, the very first time it happened, it'd have been like, okay, please don't do it again. The second time it happens, guess what? You're not getting a female massage therapist. You're getting a male massage therapist. Try it with them.
I don't even think you have to look at it like that. I think
no. I mean, that's just me. I mean, that's what I would have been if I was in the management office hearing those complaints.
If I was in the management office hearing those complaints, I'd have told him, going forward, any massages you need will be done at this facility,
or that. I mean, anything, anything. And then if
I don't think he's done enough to
massage therapist.
He should not be suspended, in my opinion. But that's just me.
And then Kyler Murray gets a bag from the Cardinals.
Do you think that's an overpay? I don't know if it's an overpay.
You overpay a guy that did not perform well in the playoffs.
Did he get him to a Super Bowl?
No.
Did he win a playoff game?
No.
Did he choke going down the stretch and damn near miss the playoffs?
Yes.
So did he deserve a bag?
No.
Hell no.
But is it a bag though? This stuff always balances out. Everybody swerving down that Patrick Mahomes got a bag, but when you look at it, it balances out over time. And the same thing they did with Stafford. Oh, he getting paid too much money. It balances out over a period of time.
Stafford was only the highest paid QB for 2 weeks, and then it was Kirk Cousins, and everybody forgets that. And then he restructured, I think, 2 years into his contract, and then did it again.
Yeah, I put it this way. If you are the Cardinals and you are sitting up there looking at this, I say you pay him because of the following reason.
The guy that they shouldn't keep around is Cliff Kingsbury.
Right, he shouldn't be there. But you have to pay the quarterback because they're too hard to find.
Right.
And so
I agree. I agree. I mean, he didn't get top money. If you really break it down, it breaks down to $32.5 million a year as a cap hit.
But again, if you know I put it this way: we at some point have to just be like, you know what? They're going to pay the quarterback.
Good for him.
And if you are going to have a quarterback, which in my opinion, there's 3 positions I would not pay high money to. To me, the highest paid player should be on defense. And that's not me being biased because I played defense. The highest paid player in the NFL should be on defense. Their impact is more cumbersome than it is for the quarterback. The quarterback is so contingent upon everybody else. He got to make sure that the offensive line works, the run game is there, receivers catch the ball. It's too many things that have to happen for it. In fact, before they started doing this stupid yards after the catch stuff, where they was giving all these yards to the quarterbacks, if you took that and adjusted it to the real yards, many of these quarterbacks ain't did shit. You know, you throw the ball 5 yards to Tyreek Hill and he goes 98 and all the yards go to Patrick Mahomes. No, absolutely not. But
I agree.
they should not be high. They shouldn't be paying these quarterbacks. They shouldn't be paying receivers a lot of money. And the highest paid player should be on defense. And if that's just how it should be, but they're not going to do that. They're not. But I'm just making a point that Kyler Murray getting paid to me I'm okay with it because now if that's the standard and you don't get anything out of Jared Goff, look, who's going to pay Jared Goff more than Kyler Murray? It might not be the Lions.
Yes, Joseph Host. Rosen signed with Cleveland yesterday.
But you don't like Tim Boyle, the great Tim Boyle?
No.
Tim Boyle that needs to be lanced off the ass of the Lions.
I don't know why they're not giving David Blau more of an opportunity.
David Blau outperformed him in the OTAs and minicamp so far, and he has more touchdowns in his 4 games than Tim Boyle could dream of having in his 3. And Tim Boyle in college had more interceptions than touchdowns, and that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I don't think the Lions should even be carrying 3 quarterbacks this year.
No, I hope he gets cut.
Same here.
Me too.
Y'all just gave me a video idea. I'm gonna do my top 5 first cuts predictions for Hard Knocks that we see on Hard Knocks. Because I'm pretty sure I can guess who the first 5 people they're gonna cut on Hard Knocks going to be. That's going to be an entertaining thing to see. Because I just don't see how this team can do anything different. But to kind of look at this team and just and see this team as it's coming into its own and stuff like this. My biggest prayer, hope, dream, expectation is that they get back to their roots, which is running the ball first. And if you look at the history of the Lions, they've always went out early on in the earlier parts of their career. They had a run game that was huge. When you look at some of the best running backs in the league, we had many of them. Take Barry out of it, you still have Billy Sims, and you still had people that you can look at and go, this was studs. Javid Best was another good running back that we had who just concussion
prone.
So, but when I tell you, and I like the Kevin Jones too, but that's another story. But I
love Kevin Jones, but he was ran into the dirt where he was at, and by the time he got here, he already had 900 miles on his legs.
Yeah, but this stuff right here happens, but we got to get back to running the ball. You have to 100% get back to running the ball because we have not won with this pass first attitude. We're not winning with it.
I also think Joyce Bell was a good running back for us too.
Fuck no. He was average at best.
He was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He was the power back. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. He was just okay.
What about Javid Best?
Javid Best, he was seriously talented, but concussions took him out. We already said that.
Yeah, and like I said, they just got to get back to the roots. Like if you look at all of our sports teams, if they all get back to their roots, they'll win again. If you look at the Pistons, the moment the Pistons go back and look at their history, they'll start winning again because you need one center who's selfless. You need a power forward who don't give a shit, right? And it is not just to go to work Pistons. I'm talking about the bad boys too, right? You had your selfless center and Bill Laimbeer, who's just like, I don't really care. I do whatever it takes. You had the power forward,
James Buddha.
So you just keep going on the list, and then you had a backcourt that can do things. When you go to the hockey, every freaking thing I look at has a history that showed what we were winning with, and somehow we got away from it.
Hockey was great goalie play, great defensive men, and guys that could shoot from the wings.
Yep, it's the Lions is the same way. Run the ball, play the defense. Like everybody wants to harp on Jared Goff, including myself, because I'm like, yo, I waved the white flag on him. But the truth is, you went to the NFC Championship with Eric Kramer. you've had success with lesser talent at quarterback. I remember when Sean Hill used to come in, and they were still able to be sustainable with Sean Hill because they had other parts that was able to work.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at your history and repeat it. Run the damn ball.
Yep. And look at the year Barry retired. We still damn near won the division with Greg Hill.
So,
and that's no knock against Greg Hill, and that's no knock on Barry.
So
you see what I'm saying? It's because they ran the ball.
Are we saying that Swift is not the answer?
Who said that?
Like
nobody said that. No. That's not what we said. We need to get back to using him and Williams as runners more.
But
Swift was cheated last year. Swift should have had way more carries than Jamal Williams, and he was cheated. And that's the problem. And this is why I'm under the belief that Swift don't want to be here, because he was taken in the second round. He was told he was the guy, and then they went out and added Adrian Peterson and made him the backup. Then they move on from that head coach, move on from Adrian Peterson, and said, you're the guy. And they go out and make a deal with Jamal Williams to be the starter. And Jamal Williams signs here with the idea that he's going to be a starter. And he was. And you didn't get the same production that you would get from a Swift. Swift is your best option at the running back position. And his carries should not be as close as they are with him. If you look at the carries, Swift had 151 carries. Compared to Jamal Williams, 153. That's way too freaking close. If you look at all the other running backs in the league that has a tandem, there is clearly a number one running back who gets majority of the carries versus the other guy who gets filler carries. And so far, what they've been doing is an even split between Jamal Williams and Swift to make Williams happy. Swift
had, 16 more yards and 0.1 better yards per carry and more touchdowns?
Swift was just 100% a better player overall for us than Jamal Williams was.
Right.
And that's
what I'm saying. If you look, he had better yards per carry, better touchdowns, and less carries.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that we should re-sign Swift at the end of the year if his production is good?
I think that DeAndre Swift,
if he stays healthy, and it's whether or not he wants to be here.
I don't think he wants to be here. I think if you listen to the comments that was made by Deuce Staley when Deuce said he needs to know the difference between being hurt and injured, that tells me he's protected himself, and I'm not mad at him. He has not been used the way that he should be used. And it showed last year that he was still mistreated. When you look up and you see a guy go off against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the next week, Jamal Williams is healthy. He's the starter. For what?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
So if it was me, would I re-sign Swift? Yes, I would love to keep Swift. But the problem is they won't do it. And to me, if it was me, again, I love Jamal Williams. I want to repeat this again because I know people hard of hearing. I love Jamal Williams.
Right.
I think he has a serviceable point for this team. Mm-hmm. However, I would prefer it to be Swift and Craig Reynolds as our 1-2 punch.
Yes, I said that right at the end of the season. Craig Reynolds should be the running back too.
And cut Igu Puke.
Yes.
Hey, Reynolds did put on a show for us. I can't front.
It's just about, like, we always want to say we want to change the pace guy, and we always assume that it has to be lightning and thunder. But what if it was just lightning on top of lightning on top of lightning?
But Craig Reynolds actually has. Joseph Host comes in and says, Jeremy, just let you know it's time to pay the bills. And you're absolutely right. I have not given credit to my sponsors yet. That being said, A1 Tire and Auto Repair. 3 locations to serve you: Saginaw, Bay City, and Cucaulin. All 3 have great used tires and great prices on new tires. Come on in and see us. I'm at the Broadway location in Bay City. And Mad Lab Custom Creations. If you have custom signed memorabilia and you want something painted up, those guys are the ones. They do great jobs. They have custom paint jobs. They will not, if it is signed, they will make sure the signature and the logo is protected. He's doing some really cool stuff over there. That being said, this has been an awesome show. I love our guests. I loved everybody that came in. Dom was only in for a minute, but he added some key points when he talked. Dan Leonard, he's a great guy, but he's also a Giants fan. That's why he was like, one of those wins better not be against my Giants. Yes, it is, because your wide receiving core is trash, but that's another story.
and I mean, we can go on about the Giants. So O-line isn't that good either.
No, their O-line's good. It was injured.
True.
Their quarterback ain't worth for damn.
Right,
We leave that alone too.
Well, he's a
Remember
Duke.
the name,
He's a Duke.
Daniel Jones. He's a bust.
He's a Duke football player.
Yes, sir. I am back home at the Bay City store. I love it because I'm not spending $60 a week in gas.
Oh, that's a big help.
Yeah, I literally have only used an eighth of a tank to go back and forth to work all week.
That's ridiculous. $60 for gas. That's crazy.
Gas was $5 a gallon. It's a 12-gallon tank. It took a full tank to go back and forth to Saginaw.
Jeez.
Andrew, are they that high down there in Texas? The gas prices?
Yeah.
And Stephen King says, let's not forget our left tackle had more touchdowns than a Giants wide receiver last year.
We're talking about
Hey, Dan Leonard, if you're listening, I hope you still like that Kennedy Galladay signing.
Did he like it when he got him before?
No. he griped about it all last year.
I think the mistake Kenny Galladay did was when he had a chance to, but again, I get why he left, because he was like, oh, Stafford not going to be here, so he knew it. But I think the mistake that he made was here he would have been targeted more with opportunities to get it done. Whereas there, they were attempted to be a run first team with Saquon, and he was more of a second option in many cases. But he I think he'll have a bounce back year. It's just that it's not going to happen with Daniel Jones there.
Yeah,
Although I would take Daniel Jones as a backup.
Yeah, I mean, I like what they did in the draft, but Thibs already did exactly what I said he'd do. He got hurt in OTAs, had to miss some of those.
Isn't he on the PUP list too?
He is starting out on the PUP list, but the PUP list in training camp can change from day to day.
Okay.
He's supposed to be back by the time they all train. He's not going to make it for the rookie training camp.
Hmm.
And another A&M, the big quarterback at 6'4" and 233 pounds, is coming in for a tryout with the rookies.
For the Lions or for the
Lions?
Who's coming in? You broke up.
Akil Glass of Alabama A&M, 6'4" and 233 pound quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm looking him up now.
Hey, if he can play better than Blau and Boyle, I'm all for it.
Same.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm just in my spirit. I'm just saying to myself that, let's just pray to God that Goff don't go down, and he won't go down if you run a damn ball.
That's right. I mean, if we're running the ball 20 times a game with a split of like 14 and 6, 14 to Swift, 6 to Williams, because we should only be using Williams or Reynolds in third and short situations unless Swift gets tired, and then you bring in Reynolds.
Well, I mean, I think, and to be fair, I think if anybody starting quarterback went down, they would be in trouble too.
Other than Arizona had the only second string QB that almost had a winning record. That was Colt McCoy.
Ugh.
You say, oof, he actually did very well for Arizona while they were hurt. He managed to keep them relevant and still in the number 1 seed because he went 2-2.
True. I just remember the old Colt McCoy.
What old Colt McCoy? The one that was at Texas and winning games?
Well, the one that was injury prone.
When?
Texas, I believe.
That being said, it's been a great show. I want to thank my guests, Andrew Merklinger, Luke G's Field Review, Chicken Nugget King, and Big Dan. And Joseph O says, I think Goff can win a Super Bowl when we improve our defense. That is the thing. I mean, on paper, the defense should be improved. Will it be? It remains to be seen on the field. That's what we're all saying. Maintain your hope. I have that 7 to 10 window, and I'm leaning towards the higher side. But let's say the injury train goes off the rails. That injury train does go off the rails like last season, and I'm not talking little injuries here and there. I'm talking where we're down 40% of our starting roster again. We have a little more depth. We may not lose as many close games as we did last year, but it's going to be rough if Goff is one of them.
I can't use injuries as an excuse. You brought these guys in knowing that they were freaking hurt. And so
No, what if it's none of those guys and everybody else is hurt? Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Let's say Okuda stays healthy and Oruwariye goes down.
Yeah, but that's
Sean
still
Elliott stays healthy and Tracy Walker goes down.
Yeah, but then that's still your fault because you didn't address those issues depth wise when you had an opportunity to it. You had enough draft picks to address those issues, and you chose to do a different route. You know, could we have survived if you didn't take another defensive lineman in the second round? Yeah, we'd have been okay, right? Could we have survived?
Wasn't Muma still available then?
Yeah, everybody was freaking available. I mean,
the only one that wasn't was Devin Lloyd and Troy Anderson, and there was one other one taken.
Yeah.
Quay Walker.
The point that I'm making is you had opportunity to address those. So I'm not, if we start getting injuries and then them other guys get hurt, I'm sorry, but then if you don't want to blame the head coach, then we need to start talking about Brad Holmes, because I'm noticing some things in Brad Holmes that's starting to scare me.
Injury players.
No, it's not even that. You know what it is? He's impulsive. He was getting ready to trade up for Sewell last year. He was getting ready to trade up for Levi Onwuzurike that same year. He traded up for Romeo. He traded up for Jameson Williams. He was ready to trade up for Pascal. Like, what? He wants to trade up. I don't get this.
Yeah, I was actually hoping in a way that we traded back and got a lot more picks.
Right. I mean, but when you look through his draft, he traded up for Derek Barnes. This dude loves trading up. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's so impulsive. Like, I had to watch the end of den thing where Dorsey kept telling him, just relax. They're gonna come to us. They're gonna fall to us. He's impulsive.
If Minnesota would have asked Brad Holmes more for trading up for Jameson Williams, he said he was prepared to give like an extra future first round pick for him. So he was going to take Jameson Williams either way.
Which then come back and he say he broke his rule that he learned from the Rams, which is you don't draft hurt players in the first round. Well, that's a damn good rule.
It is a damn good rule. That being said, it's been a great show. Thank you, everybody. If you guys want to stay around and have a little roundtable talk where we can get a little more in-depth and TVMA, we can. But I'm going to call it. It's been a great show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I am at 125 subscribers with only 6 months of shows. I think it's great. But I am trying to push for that 1,000 because, hey, it'd be nice to get paid for something I love to do. That being said, have a great evening. And Luke G, I'll let you give the positive quote of the night to close it out.
You know me, I can't never end the show unless I give a positive one, because to me, positivity is what breeds betterness. Okay, I saw a quote that I couldn't help but to linger on. You know what I mean? It jumped out to me like a sore thumb, but I stayed with it. It's a very simple. I don't know who wrote this, but I'll get right to it. Life happens when you take a breath. I'm going to take it again. Sometimes it's the small things that people miss. Life happens when you take a breath. The job is not the way you want it to be. Take a breath. The woman that you're with ain't treating you the way you're supposed to be. Take a breath. Your friends ain't supporting you the way they're supposed to. Take a breath. But while you're breathing, understand that each breath is a reminder that you are surviving all the things that you thought you could never survive. It is the moment in which you find that you are at your strongest. Do not get caught up in the ideas that you need other people's validation to be successful. Create your success, and those people will come validating you on what you have done. Just take a breath. It does not have to be the biggest breath. It doesn't have to be the smallest breath, but take a breath to let you know that life happens, and to let you know that you are alive. Keep that dream alive. Keep that breath alive, and let those around you who are watching you, who are not giving you what you need, understand that whether they were there or not, you was always great, and you will forever be great. And with that being said, you better make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to my man Smokin JB. If you don't, I'm gonna send a centipede to run across your face.
Whoo, that's nasty. And I'm going to end on my positive note that I end every show. If you want the world to be a better place, try to strive to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way we're going to improve the place we live. That being said, this has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. Thank you to all my guests, and we are out.